Why? Innovation truly happens when you put a team which is cross-cultural, cross education, etc. And the interaction of each of these functions, that cross-functional interaction is what sparks new ideas. When a production guy sits with a sales guy and says, why can't we do this? When a technical guy sits with a commercial guy and says, why can't we do this? That's when innovation happens. You put 5 sales guys together, you don't get innovation. You put 5 marketing guys together, you don't get innovation. Sameness in thinking is the surest way to kill innovation. And if you don't want sameness in thinking, you have to have diversity. Okay, so diversity is just not men to women ratio. It is about every single difference you can bring to the table. The best companies and the best innovation teams have diversity in their teams. Keep that in mind. Okay? 1. Second is inclusiveness. If you really want people to own your company and want to do something new, they need to feel part of it. Okay? Today, most CEOs in the country, 95% of CEOs in the country don't know more than 50 employees in their company, believe it or not. And out of those 50 employees, 20 or 15 will be their direct reports. They don't know more than 50 people. So if I as an employee don't feel included by my leadership team, what is my commitment to doing something different? Okay, so the second part of driving innovation is include as many people as possible. Not just your own team, include the ecosystem partners, include your distributor, include your supplier, include educational institutions, include technical institutions, include scientific institutions. That's what will make you win in innovation. The wider you open your window to learning, the better it will be. And the third is loyalty. Loyalty is a funny word. Whenever we talk of loyalty, the first question most companies ask is the individual loyal? Okay. Then the second question we ask is the individual loyal to the company or to the individual, which is the boss? Whom is he loyal to? Okay, I have a different take on it. I would seriously ask everybody who works in a company, the leaders in a company, to answer a very different question. Is the company loyal to its employees? That's a very important question for leaders to answer. Are we loyal to our employees? If we are loyal to our employees, we have every right to demand loyalty. Loyalty is not a one-way street. We think of it as a one-way street. Loyalty is a two-way street. We have to show loyalty to the employees before we demand loyalty from the employee. So for leadership, one of the first things I would suggest is, please show loyalty to your employees. Okay? Next, I talked about execution. How do companies win? This is what I call the 50,000 to 5 feet. Anybody can think at 50,000 feet. We should do this. If you look at all the media interviews, why not this? It's a 20 question. They keep asking you questions. There are no answers. That's what I call 50,000 feet thinking. You can keep asking questions and stay at 50,000 feet. Great execution happens when you think at 50,000 feet and you're able to translate that to somebody at 5 feet who operates for you. Your company can have a huge 50,000 feet thought, but ask yourself, at 5 feet, where the machine worker is working in the plant, does he understand it? The salesman who is out in the marketplace, does he understand it simply? Okay, if that 50,000 feet concept cannot be translated at a 5 feet level, you will lose. You will be seen as absent-minded professors in the company. Yeah, he talks big, nice, etc., cannot translate it to action. Okay, so that's something. Execution requires a 50,000 feet drilled down to 5 feet. Second, execution requires that you focus on output measures, not input measures. Output measures. For example, most people will say, conduct 5 training courses for the sales team. That's an input measure. The true output measure, if you want outstanding execution, is to say, conduct 5 training courses, improve productivity from current 38% to 43%. That is an output measure. That is how you out-execute competition. Conducting 5 training courses is an input variable. Life doesn't change. So if you really want good execution as a company, focus much more on the output measures and tell people not to focus on the input measures. Okay? So that's the second part of great execution. And the third part of great execution, which is hard but important. Return on investment for every rupee you spend. Please measure it. Return on investment, first, very important. This is a very rational way of looking at it, and we have to look at one part of execution rationally, no doubt about it. So please measure return on investment and have, is it good, bad, ugly, cut off everything which does not return. Okay? But the second part, which is extremely emotional, and you have to control this in an organization if you want outstanding execution, is return on effort. Execution is about effort. You have to lift things, you have to move things, you have to drive things. If the employee does not feel that the effort is yielding result, he will go into a negative spiral. We are all good at doing ROI. We are not good at empathizing with ROE. Okay, that's very important. Return on effort. There are people out there, as I stand and talk before you right now, there are 10,000 people out in PepsiCo driving, sales into every outlet. It is my job to understand that empathy, to say, look at the effort they are putting. What does that mean to me? Every leader must actually have that concept of, my employees are doing so much in terms of effort. Am I really understanding that? Okay, so return on investment, logical, rational exercise all of us do. Return on effort, not something that we really think about. So what do leaders need to do? We talked of companies, we talked of employees, we talked of how companies can win, both the innovation game with DIL and the execution game with 50,000 to 5 feet and the return on effort. What do leaders need to do? First, leaders need to give before they ask. In tomorrow's world, leaders need to give before they ask. What do leaders need to give? The first thing that leaders can give is their time. I cannot tell you the most important thing, young people in the organization, direct recruits in the organization, the thing they most look for is a leader's time. All of us have only 24 hours. But if you can give your time liberally to people, face-to-face, email, on the phone, in any which way, you'll build significantly higher engagement. So if there is one commodity you can liberally give as leaders, it is your time. You have to work on that. Okay? Why is that so today? Young people, when they join a company, they see someone like me with more than 20 years experience. They might work for me for 1 or 2 years. But they want to compress my 20 years or 25 years in the 2 years that they work for me. They want to learn all that I've learned in 25 years, they want to learn it in 2 years. They are in a hurry. The young people are what I call the Concorde generation. You know what the Concorde generation is? It takes off from London at 10 o'clock and arrives in New York at 9 o'clock. That's the Concorde generation. Okay, so leaders have to be very clear that they're able to compress their knowledge and give it to this Concorde generation. Second, naive listening. A lot of leaders, before you've completed your sentence, their attention is nanoseconds. They're giving you the answer even before you complete your point. What really employees want in today's world is naive listening. Just listen to me. That's all. You might not have an answer, but hey, Mr. Leader, please listen to me. That's all I want of you. So one is time, second is listen carefully, naive listening. The third is empathy. Everybody has a problem with something or the other. It can be a personal problem, it can be a family problem, it can be a colleague problem, it can be a society problem. All they are seeking is empathy. Do you understand what I go through? That's all. Okay. And finally is positive energy. Nobody comes to work in a company for a cynical leader. And a lot of leaders are cynical in this world. When you have a cynical leader, he has a bunch of people around him listening to him for the first time. Because he's saying, this company is no good, useless, this managing director is no good, useless, etc. First time it is fun, because this guy says it. The second time, the young people who want to get ahead in life, they're asking themselves, why does this guy stay in this company if he's so unhappy? If he's so cynical, why is he here? The third time he says it, the young people are thinking, this guy will not get another job, that's why he's here. Think about it. Nobody comes to work for a cynical boss. Everybody wants to work for a positive boss. Okay, and one of the things we need to do as leaders is to spread positive energy. That's why people will come to work for us. Otherwise, they will not. So in summary, at the end of 18 minutes, first, be better before you're cheaper. Very important. That means you need to think innovation, you need to think differentiation. How can I be better? Your whole team has to be thinking, what can I do to better this product? either in product terms, or in service terms, or in channel terms, whichever way it is. How can I be better? Second, always put growth ahead of cost cutting. Revenue ahead of cost. Very important. Next, provide meaning to people. Meaning in the purpose of the company. What does that mean? They come to work because of meaning. They come to work because they have good colleagues. And they come to work because they believe that they have made some progress. Next, the only way a company can win in tomorrow's marketplace is innovating and out-executing competition. You have to out-innovate competition, you have to out-execute competition. Okay? Innovation means having the diversity in your team, having the inclusiveness in your team, and building loyalty to what you're doing. Okay? Execution, 50,000 feet to 5 feet. How do you do that? Return on investment, return on effort. How do you really measure that? Return on effort specifically. Okay, the whole concept of DIL, very important in tomorrow's world. Okay, we cannot mandate anybody to do anything. No way. Okay, and I'll give you a simple story. A few years ago when I was in Nokia, the chap called Pranab, he got a job in Singapore. So his boss DK came and told me, Shiv, this guy is a good guy. Why don't you have a word with him and get him to stay in Nokia India rather than going to Nokia Singapore? I said, sure, I'll do that, DK. So I took Pranab down for a coffee, okay, so in the coffee shop in Gurgaon. So we chatted. So I told him why it is better for him to stay here. He said, yeah, Shiva, I agree. I think you're right. I will stay here. After about 15 minutes, I asked him a question. I said, Pranab, and I thought this was a CEO question and I should ask it, naive that I was. I asked him, Pranab, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Okay, good question to ask, right? That's what we are all taught to do that. This guy looked at me seriously in my face and said, I don't know where, Shiv, but definitely not Nokia. Think about it. If I had been asked that question when I was a young manager in Hindustan Lever, and if my chairman, Dr. Ganguly, had asked me, I would have said, where, sir? Here, always. That's the fundamental difference. That's the fundamental difference of today's generation. They have so many options ahead of them that if you don't win their hearts, there is no way they'll work for you. That's the most you can do to keep them with you. Okay? As Jonathan Livingston Seagull said, if they fly away, let them go. If they are yours, they'll come back. If they don't come back, they were never yours. Okay? That's the thing with young generation today. You cannot take them for granted. The only way to win with them is winning their heart. 50,000, great thoughts, bring it down to 5 feet in execution terms. Okay? Think output measures, not input measures. Return on investment, logical, rational. Think of return on effort. That's far more empathetic. And that's what will build the warmth and the heart in the company. As leaders, please give your time to your people. I cannot stress this. I cannot stress it enough. Okay? Most leaders don't know, the people who work for them, except about 50. Listening, naive listening, very critical. Build empathy and positive energy. Before I close, I want to reflect on what I see in the newspapers. Okay? And I'll close with that. In the newspapers, we hear all leaders talk of 4 things, which I call their 4 lies, for whatever it is. The first lie is, we are a growth company. Everybody says that. Everybody in the industry says that. In the same industry says that. Second, we are a consumer-oriented company. Okay? Everybody says that. I was called by the Market Research Society of India last year to do a keynote like this. There were 300 researchers, and I asked them, when was the last time a CEO attended a presentation of yours on consumers? 2 hands went up. 2 hands in 300. But every CEO and every leader says he's consumer connected. Think about it. Third thing every company is saying in the newspapers, we are an innovative company. Talking about innovation doesn't make you innovative. Talking about anything doesn't make you anything. Okay? And the fourth and the biggest lie of all, which once I say it, you read in the newspapers. We are going to double our turnover in 4 years. These are the 4 things everybody says. Now you have to decide what is right and what is wrong, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm telling you, all 4 of them, the only way you can do that, all 4 together, is if you have diversity, inclusion, and loyalty at work. Otherwise, all those 4 statements are plain, empty statements which are there in the newspaper, which have no meaning to your employees. So that's all I have to say. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I really enjoyed doing this here.
I was just wondering for last half an hour plus that the things which are simple to understand, a lot of clarity and hard work goes in. And that is the highlight of Shiv's presentation. Wonderful presentation. In our technical language, we always say we are machine builders. So we say when you want to make easy to use machine, then build the complexities which are perfect. And the point is that the kind of complexities what he analyzed and what he has come out with, they are simply amazing. You talk about winning organization, you talk about how organization take on innovation track or how leaders should take it forward. I think everything has been sort of what you can say nectar of his experience, what he has presented to us today. And that's what he said a couple of minutes ago, that what youngsters want, maybe what you have done in 20 years, they would like to take it up like a sponge if you are a good leader. And another point what I would like to make, that while we talk about innovation, he said that, 4 statements what people make, all CEOs, and most of them, they don't even reach to the level what they claim. While we build an organization, for a beginner who starts an organization, an entrepreneur, he has to become a brand himself to build an organization which can last for 100 years. And if someone has to do in current times, then these are the elements what he has to focus on. I mean, this is a very, very important takeaway for us, all of us, on this evening. And I think we have about 15 minutes for question answers. We welcome question answers from participants. Floor is open for you.
Is there a mic, sir?
Just what the gentleman said, what I found personally, like 20 or 25 years of your experience in 20 or 25 plus minutes, excellent. Is it like you can say summary of your 25 years of experience?
Okay. Yes, in a sense, you will not find this in any textbook. Okay, this is only you have to live through it, you have to fail often enough, you have to succeed many times. And only through the combination of succeeding and failing can you put the thoughts on the table. Yes, sir.
Previously, all companies were, all management was teaching consumer first, customer first. Then came employee first. And you also mentioned about this loyalty to employee. So why this trust is given on loyalty to employee?
Okay, very good question. Thank you for asking that. See, if you go back to the 80s, okay, late 80s, if you finished business school or if you wanted to work anywhere, the choice in India was very limited. You had a few companies, a lot of them public sector, a lot of them family owned, and that's where you could do. Then 1991 happened. After 1991, many sectors opened up in the last 20 years. Telecom didn't exist in 1991. Airlines was only